Today's episode is more of a tutorial on making bat-like wings that you can add to your already existing miniatures. I do make my own creature here, but the main focus are the wings. Welcome back to another episode of Franky D Crafter. Today, we'll be making a flying eye monster. Why? Because we can. For the wings, all you will need is skewers, cereal cardboard, and hot glue. I also use crazy glue and baking soda for the joints. You know me. I make sure to set myself up with some wax paper so that when I get the shape that I like, I can just trace it. This will also help when you have to glue, since the glue won't actually stick to the wax paper. Once I have them lined up, I start using crazy glue and baking soda to hold them together. And make sure to add it on both sides. For some segments, I use toothpicks. Thinking back, I shouldn't have used the ones with no tip. This is where you want to start outlining the wing. Up to this point, you want to keep the bottom of the wing and the top of the wing separate. When gluing the final piece, you want to lift the bottom half just slightly. Let's just clean this wing up and move on to the next one. I line up the picks for the next wing and start gluing them. When you are ready to glue both halves together, just turn over the wax sheet and try to glue it at the same angle as the last wing. I set mine right next to it to get a better reference. Let's move on to the cereal box. You want to do this in 3 parts. You can simply trace the shape you want using what we already crafted, and then you cut it out. Make sure to add texture to the wings before gluing them. Run your glue gun back and forth like we did for the fins of the sea serpent's tail. Add extra glue where the sticks will make contact. Using the same technique, finish the bottom section and the upper section. For the back of the wings, add hot glue where the cardboard connects. Try to mimic the pattern from the skewers and the toothpicks from the other side. Make sure to also add texture to the back of the wings. The wings should look something like this right now. Now let's move on to the eye. Aluminum and clay will be all you need for the eye. Roll up a bowl of aluminum and cover it with clay. Try to make it as round as possible. For the pupil, use your blade and draw a line down the eye. Draw lines outward from it, and then draw an oval around the pupil. Doing this right now will make painting this eye a lot easier later on. Before the clay dries, line up the wings where you wish to attach them to the eye. Make an indentation on the clay all the way down to the aluminum. When the clay dries, poke a hole through the indentation and add hot glue to attach the wings. Carefully, or before the clay dries, poke a hole through the bottom of the eye. You can totally skip to basing if you'd like from here, but I like to push it a little bit more. We're gonna be making this eye coming out of a mouth. I want to start by adding eyelids that will also double as gums. When you add your clay, only blend it towards the back of the eye. I'm using Gorilla Gel glue to add toothpicks as teeth. Then we use small beads for the eyes. Add clay to make it look angry. Don't pay too much attention to detail here. I want these eyes on the back to be fake anyways. Roll up a string of clay. This will be your lips for the monster. I use a sculpting tool to blend it. The tip of the tool is well rounded and it makes it easier to blend. I go ahead and do the same for the eyes. We will be adding the tail to the monster using cereal box cardboard. Just cut out your shape and hot glue it to the eye. In retrospect, I wish I would have made it a little bit thinner. Cut the tips of 2 skewers. We'll be using this as shoulder spikes. When we hot glue these, make sure to glue them in a way that you can still see them from the front. Add a bit of clay for the shoulder spikes. I continue the form from the shoulders all the way down to the nose. I start blending the back into the wings and the tail with clay. I also add hot glue to the tail. I then add the bottom gum and start attaching the teeth to them as well. I forgot about the hole for the base, so I'm just fixing it right here. We are adding a toothpick to attach it to the base. I just wanted to finish with the clay at this point so that I can get to the painting. I add more clay on the head because I think it looks too much like a frog. And I continue the design from the shoulders down to the tail. Add a bit of water where you plan to put the clay. It makes it easier to attach. Just as you did for the top lip, add the bottom lip using clay. From here, just make sure to cover the rest of the tail with clay. Primer your mini. I use a coat of black primer and then lightly spray it with white from above. I'm using dark colors like this purple lake because I figure this is a creature that you would most likely encounter in caves. For abilities, I would give this creature 2 eye ray abilities from the beholders. I would give it Fear Ray and Slowing Ray, but it would only be able to shoot 1 ray on his turn. For melee attacks, he would have Constrict. And as you might have noticed, there is no way this guy can use Bite. The way he feeds is through a stinger on his tail. The stinger would deal damage while restoring his own hit points. And I was wondering whether to give the stinger the ability to paralyze. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. If there's other abilities that you might give it, let me know. If you decide to tackle this monster and have any questions or you're stuck on something, don't hesitate to hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. I'll be more than happy to help. And lastly, don't forget to check out my Patreon page if you would like to support the channel. For the painting process, I think this was the only part I wanted to walk you through. When painting the iris, you want to dry brush all your detail in. I had put a solid forest green as my starting color, then I dry brushed a light green. Make sure that there's not much paint on your brush when doing this. You want to add yellow in the same manner, but not towards the edges of the iris. I do a few white dot highlights and go back with the yellow around those same highlights. That's pretty much it. I do make sure to add black wash in between the eyes and the gum, but that should be it for painting. For my base, I used a washer for weight and a poker chip. I glued them together using E6000. Then I drilled a hole for the toothpick and used hot glue on the top and E6000 on the bottom. Thank you very much again for watching this episode of Franky D Crafter. If you want to stay up to date, don't forget to subscribe. Till next time, catch you on the flippity side.